If you just bought the latest 7th generation Intel processor, the latest AMD processor, or Qualcomm's latest processor, and you tried to install Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 on it and get updates, you might have seen something very weird. But before we get into that, my name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and what is the best way to force people to upgrade to a newer operating system? The short answer is prevent support for newer hardware and older operating systems, and this is exactly what Microsoft has done. We're not surprised. They have tried this bullshit before with the 6th generation Intel processor, but they later backpedaled, allowing people to actually use newer drivers made for Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 with their hardware that they like. And Microsoft has done this before and will eventually have to do it. I mean, look at Windows XP. There is no updates whatsoever. So we know eventually they're going to just refuse to create updates for this. This is actually part of their end of life calendar. When you buy an operating system from Microsoft, you can check the end of life calendar and see when your expected seizure of updates is going to occur. You can continue getting all of the updates that you want for the operating system that have been already created past that time, but there are no new updates for those operating systems beyond that date. And there are plenty of reasons why, on top of everything else, normal people did actually refuse to go from Windows 7 and 8.1, although there's a lot fewer people in 8.1. It was a nice operating system in the end, over to Windows 10. And that had to do with privacy violations and telemetry information and a whole bunch of other stuff, all very valid reasons. But you're going to have to play devil's advocate to understand everything from both sides. And this is something that one of my future shows is going to actually embrace, the idea of going from one side to the other. So let's start it with the end user's point of view. You paid for an operating system and you expect to be able to use it as long as we're within the terms and agreement provided by the use of the operating system with a set number of machines that we paid for, regardless of the build. Plenty of us also upgrade our machines periodically, formatting our hard drive, and we live within this ecosystem of where we can only do various formats and whatever a set number of times within a given calendar date. And this is normal convention, and all of us that use Windows 7 and 8.1 expect to be able to take advantage of newer processors and hardware. After all, Microsoft is still issuing updates for these operating systems, so why not? Microsoft's point of view, though, is they may have expected you to use that operating system with then hardware and then upcoming hardware and software, obviously, and they would continue to support those hardware options that were provided then or just coming out later after the actual launch of those operating systems, as long as it fell within the calendar of end of life. So all the way up until the date they specified that they would continue to support that version of their Windows operating system until the day that they make it just die. And it doesn't really gimp the operating system. It's just the fact that the operating system ceases to have any other updates. It may be because they think that there's no point financially to do so. They may try to migrate people off older operating systems onto newer ones so that they have less technical engineering to do when it comes to the programming of the operating systems and updates. And of course, there are plenty of other reasons that they probably don't give us. Let's start off. We know a few things about how this is going to work, and this is where I'm going to punch Microsoft in the teeth. While Windows 7 was supposed to have end of life in 2015, yes, so for those who did not understand that, it was supposed to have its end of life in 2015. It got extended because of Windows 8 and 8.1 having so many issues. You could understand why Microsoft does not give updates for Windows 7. But at the same time, the end of life for Windows 8.1 is only next year in 2018, which I would like to ask Microsoft. If the end of life of Windows 8.1 is only next year, why is it that you're not supporting the newer processors in 8.1 and you just unilaterally said F you to every user of Windows 7 and 8.1? If you had just done it to Windows 7, you could have just said end of life calendar, deal with it, go F yourself. But the fact that 8.1 users are affected as well means that there is proof of intent of them trying to migrate all of the users from 7 and 8.1 over to Windows 10. And here is a prediction, Microsoft. The market share of Linux will go up. There is something called Steam, and it works on Linux, and a lot of games are starting to work and now actually do work in Linux. So they could just skip the Windows Store, the Windows 10 operating system, go over to Linux and play their video games with a lot less overhead and virtually no telemetry and a lot less risk of infection at the same time. This is what we call playing poker and you're about to lose. Microsoft apparently is about to hit a wall, and we're going to just sit here and watch what happens. Will they backpedal, or will they stick their ground, or will they at least backpedal for Windows 8.1 users? Like this episode if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those that you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com. And if you want to make this show better, go to patreon.com/tqaweekly and become a patron today. Patrons get these episodes 24 hours in advance for everyone else. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.